we had an interesting question of the day when it came to this week. I think, it was happening on Twitter, of course, X, if you may. And it was something that I thought was actually kind of interesting conversation to have. And it had to deal with something that former USA rugby player Marcel Branch, and currently plays for the MLR, he had this to say. He was like, hey, USMLR, when are we getting confirmation that players are allowed to choose their playing numbers for the upcoming season? Hearing we're close to a green light on this. So amped. And I thought this was a really interesting context because if you don't know, for those you might happen to pay attention and run into this, with numbers are associated with positions in rugby. So if you wear number 7 or number 6, you're a flanker. If you're an 8 man. If you're 10, you're fly half, etc., etc., etc. No matter whose name is under it, that number is equated to that position, not to the player. Unlike the NFL and other sports, number equates to player. And there was an idea of, things to make the game more Americanized so that it can bring in a new audience and that it can be able to provide, maybe a little better connection. But for this one, I had a question. I am a big advocate. I'm a big advocate for modernization and to bring rugby into a fold that is more familiar with the public, specifically here in the U.S. So my question to you is, and absolutely, if you want to answer in the comments or respond DMs, wherever you want to go, what's your thoughts? Do you think that to make the game more approachable, that players should be allowed to choose their numbers regardless of their position, or should we maintain it as a tradition? Now, I'm going to answer because right now I'm the only one talking. I think it's the stupidest idea in the world to try and change the numbers of position to the numbers per player. Why? Because whenever you have a game that's already confusing for a general public, you need to be able to create the highest amount of simplicity. It's one thing to go put your name on the back of a jersey. Go and put the name on the back of the jersey. That makes it easy to identify you. But ain't nobody want to be like, you need to know where the positions are and who's supposed to be where they're supposed to be. Add to that, it also makes it easier for the ref. But for the audience, it makes it more consistent to be able to say this person is playing this position, hence they have this job. A equals B equals C, and it makes it so that you can actually, identify and explain and treat, especially for those of us that have to explain rugby to a lot of people. Like, you don't want to make it more confusing. Be like, yo, number 11 is inside as a flanker, but like, you see where the positioning is that you can only see if it's in the scrum, but if you can only see it from the side because the camera don't do over the top, like, you can't, it's too much work. And the players positions play as much as their need to be fluid on both being able to play offense and defense. For rugby sevens, maybe you could get away with it, and they do. Rugby sevens is far more scattered when it comes to numbers equating to positions, and I think that's perfectly fine because there's not as many players in the field. You're running far more, and players have to be more exchangeable per position. A wing might have to ruck. A hooker might actually have to scrum. Like, it can go any way. But when it comes down to 15 people in the field know exactly who's supposed to do what, where, when. I don't think it would be the greatest idea at all. Kind of looking up at X, I think there was some, you gotta love the shares that go along with it. Hold on, let me see. Let's pull this up real quick. So, the best thing is to always take back and look at what the people are saying here. All right. So let's look in. All right. So we had Jack's Ranger. All right. It's like players' names on back. Absolutely. Random numbers. Oh, hell no. Traditional numbers help identify positions and substitute for new fans. I am in agreement. Jack's Ranger show. I'm in big agreement with that one. Brian Ray, who is another rugby commentator, does it for American Rugby News, or does stuff with my guy Matt McCarthy on MLR Weekly. Brian Ray was like, no bueno for me. Names, yes, absolutely. I'm firmly in the position. Is your number camp? It makes you rugby unique, not just tradition, though. It helps refs identify players quickly. 100% agree with that. I love a little bit of a pushback. Personally, I love the 1 through 23 tradition. However, Branch seems really excited about this. So this is from Derek Brissett at Brissett the Jet. Seems really excited about this. So why not let the players have some fun? MLB players weekend style. 1 week, every team wears fun kit. Players get to put whatever they want to on their back, auction the jerseys off, have fun. Now that's a really great idea. That is a really great idea. Why? Because it doesn't disrupt the actual process of the game. It provides an all-star kind of situation where it is an informal version of play, and it is a great way of being able to raise community and awareness and money for a cause or situation, especially whenever there are so few things to be able to connect players to stars in rugby, because we still are working on creating storytelling within our rugby base. So I love this. Derek Brissett had this one on point. That one was on point. my boy Cassette, yeah, you can check out his interview on our podcast over here. My boy Cassette said, like, has to be trolling. I love that. James Dealey goes, I'm all for players' names on the back of jerseys. It helps familiarize fans with their favorite players, and the opportunity to buy jerseys with those players' names on is huge. But not so sure about custom jersey numbers. What we're going to call the number 8, for example. So I think these are just a few great examples to be able to utilize. And I think it creates a really excellent point. Like, there's ways to be able to make the game more familiar and build up more awareness for teams to be able to, for fans to be able to identify what's going on. But I as much as I am not a traditionalist, I think this is one area where it doesn't do anything to disrupt the game, and in fact, it's probably a major positive for keeping people in the game and keeping people aware of what's happening. So, once again, let me know what your thoughts on this was. All right, where do you stand in the camp? Do you think that maybe perhaps we should change it up, make the players to it, makes it easier to sell jerseys, consistency in what we're doing with the MLR, consistency in allowing people to identify a player on the field? Or, should we take it like Brissett was able to give to us and go like, let's do an all-star thing. Derek, man, like, let's do an all-star thing. I think that would be dope. Let's do 1 day, 1 week where you guys just do whatever, and then you can go through. Makes the game interesting. Hey, look, Savannah Bananas can do dancing and everything like that, and basically do numbers like a low-end MLB team. MLR can do the same thing too. Do it for 1 week, and get it in. Love it. I love it. I love inquisitiveness like that. You gotta appreciate that. All right, so.
Anybody say I can't, I say I ain't convinced.